thoughts on it? Okay, lovely. James, are you okay to get cracking?
Yeah. Hi, Joe. I wonder just how big a hit to the confidence a defeat like that will be, and how, as captain, do you ensure it isn't?
Well, as I said after the last game, I think it's really important that we stay level. We don't get too far above our station when we win, and we don't see it as doom and gloom when we have tough weeks like we have this time round. We've played some really good cricket over the recent past in challenging conditions, very foreign conditions. And we've been, let's be honest, outplayed in all three departments this week. So it's important that we learn. We take it as a bit of an education. We look at how they've gone about things on a surface that has spun a huge amount, probably bounced more than we'd anticipate as well. But take that forward, take it as a learning, and make sure that we're better for it next time we do experience conditions that are similar.
Yeah, on the pitch, what did you make of it? Some people saying it wasn't fit for Test cricket.
I'd say it was a challenging wicket, and I do think that the toss was an important one to win, but it wouldn't have guaranteed us to win the game either. The fact is that India have showed that you can score runs on it, and found a way of managing a very tricky service. So for us, I think we've got to learn from that. We've got to take bits from it, add it to our own games, and come back better for it as well. They're very different to what a lot of our guys will have experienced before. But as long as we learn from it, then we'll be a better side in the future. It might not be that when we come to bat on day 2 of a game that it spins as much as it did this time round, or performs how it did this time round, but it might be days 3, 4, 5 where it becomes a little bit more challenging. And now we've got that in the bank. Hopefully, guys will be able to take that forward and be better for it.
You chose not to play Dom Bess. Any regrets in hindsight with that decision?
No, I think we made that decision, and you can look at a number of things. When you lose, selection's one of the easy things to blame. I look at the side that we did select, and the players that are out there. There's certainly the talent there to go and back up what was a very fine performance in the first game. So I'd say Dom will benefit from taking a little bit of time out of it, working on a few things, and I think he'll be coming back a better player when his opportunity arises. But I think that's an easy excuse to make. And we've got a very talented squad of players, and there was a very talented side that came into this game.
And finally, from me, how's Ben Stokes, and also how is Crawley doing?
Yeah, Ben's fine. He's fit to play. It was more of a tactical decision that he didn't bowl throughout this Test matches, more than the 2 overs that he did. You look at the Test match as a whole, there was a minimal amount of seam bowled in the whole game because of the wicket that we were dealing with. So Ben will be fine. Zach is improving all the time. He's been batting quite a lot this week and seems to be getting better and better. So that's great signs for him and for us moving forward.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Simon Mann now, please, BBC.
Hello, Joe. Moeen 8 for 226, Jack Leach 8 for 178. Did you actually want more from your spinners in these conditions? You described it as a challenging pitch. Did you want more from your spinners?
What I would say is that I think as a bowling group, we've spoken a lot recently about building pressure for long periods of time. I think one thing that we could have got a little bit better, especially on day 1, was just squeeze the game for longer. Try and bowl 6 balls at one batter. Try and make it difficult for them to rotate strike and create pressure that way. And I think that's one thing that we can take forward for the rest of the tour. Can we find ways of keeping the board quieter for longer? Can we string maidens together? And can we force errors through very disciplined passages of play with the ball? That's one thing I think that they did a lot better than us. And I also think that one thing our batters need to learn is that how well they manage to rotate strike, how they manage to bat at the other end on a very challenging surface. So as long as we look at the game honestly, we look at areas that we can improve on. I think they did a lot of good stuff as well in the middle of all that. So we're always looking forward as a team, and we don't get be too hard on ourselves after after this week. You've got to remember, we won all in this series. We're very much in it, very much a part of it. We played 3 brilliant games coming into this one. So as long as we stay level, keep working hard, we're very much alive and kicking in this series.
What's happening to Mo now? Is he going home?
Yeah, Mo's chose to go home. It's obviously been a very tricky tour for him. And as mentioned at the start, players feel that they need to get out of the bubble then. And that's been an option. And I think it's really important that we stand by that. And that decision's been made, and hopefully he feels better for it.
Just on the batting side of things, I mean, is it a case sometimes that the puzzle is too difficult to solve? I mean, you talked about how you can play, but sometimes the conditions can be too much against you.
I think one thing we've got to bear in mind, and that we've got to be quite realistic about, is there is very few examples that a very young batting group will face conditions like that. So one thing that we coming here, on this tour is there's a number of guys that hadn't been to Sri Lanka before. There's a number of guys that haven't played in India before. Never mind an extremity as this wicket's provided. So we've been very good at learning quite quickly, and that's why we've had success away from home in recent times. It's important that we just take that forward again. There's not, as I said, there's not many times guys will have batted on a wicket that's bounced and spun and misbehaved as much as that. I think one thing that I take from the way that they played it was how calm they stayed, how unflustered they were when those deliveries did really misbehave, how they didn't waver from their game plan, how they knew exactly where they were going to score their runs, how they managed to bat at the other end for long periods of time. And I think they're just a few of the things that, as a batting group, we've got to look at, right, how does that look for us individually? How am I going to manage these big turning deliveries, and how am I going to stay really calm and clear under pressure?
Final one from me. Johnny Bairstow and Zach Crawley are back. They're available. Are they right in the frame? And I mean right in the frame for selection for the next Test match?
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll want to get some more time in practice and utilise the lead up to this next game. But we'll put a squad out there as soon as we're ready, and anyone in that squad is obviously up for selection.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Simon.
Venkat, it's just one question, please, Venkat. Thank you.
Yes. Joe, there's every chance that Australia can get into the World Test Championship final ahead of England and India if the results don't go their way. Seems to be a lot of difference in the W Test Championship qualifying. What changes would you see in the next cycle of W Test Championship?
I'm really sorry, connection's not very good. Is there any chance you could just repeat that?
Test Championship.
So basically, Australia still have played only one away series under the World Test Championship. England and India have played 3 each, and there is a chance that both could miss out and Australia can sneak ahead of you guys. What kind of changes would you like to see in that World Test Championship in the second cycle? There seems to be a lot of disparity.
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky thing to manage, isn't it? Certain sides play more games than others. You look at us, for example, we'll have played more Test cricket than any other side in the competition, probably more games away from home as well. Is that a disadvantage? Is it not? I think it is what it is. As players, all you can do is try and manage the games that you've got in front of you and try and win as many games as you possibly can. We're in the position we are right now. We know what we've got to do to try and qualify. And it doesn't change how we're going to approach the next couple of games. I think it's always going to be very difficult with the when sides don't always play the same amount of games, same length of series, to find a method and a structure to make things really even across the board. So all we can do as players and as an England team is try and win as many games as we can and give ourselves the best chance. But yeah.
Sayak now, please.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Is it all right if you just speak up slightly, quite quietly?
Yeah. First of all, commiserations. And Joe, I just wanted to know that is there any possibility of Jofra Archer returning for the next Test?
Firstly, thank you. And Yeah, there is a possibility. He's been back into training last couple of days, and his workload will obviously build up ahead of the game. And hopefully, he'll be available for selection, all being well for this pink ball test.
Prasenjit now, please.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
So my question to you is about the pitch. Like various people have a varied opinion about the nature of the track for this match, but you and your teammates have played on it. So do you think the conditions were definitely challenging, but do you think the pitch was that bad to call it a sandpit or a beach?
Well, you can call it whatever you like. The fact of the matter is we were outplayed on it. And as I mentioned, I do think that the toss was an important one. Don't think it necessarily dictated who was going to win the game, but we'd have certainly liked to have batted first on it. The thing that stands out is that India made the most of that opportunity, and we didn't perform well enough in that first innings. We didn't get close enough to them and apply enough pressure in that respect. And if we'd have been closer to them when we took that cluster of wickets in the second innings early on, it might have changed the momentum of the game. And that's something that we'll have to look back on and try and get better if we find ourselves on a similar kind of surface. But as I say, we've got to learn from it. It's very alien to what a lot of English guys will have experienced before, as are green seamers that you might come across in the UK. Do I think it was a good pitch? I wouldn't say it was a good pitch. It made for very exciting cricket, but that is not the reason why we lost the game. We were outplayed, and we have to be very honest about that. And we have to be better if we find ourselves in a similar situation further down the line.
Sriram, please now.
Yeah, Indian fans have been wowed by the best wicketkeeper in the world, Ben Stokes. And he batted really well in the first innings as well, Ben Stokes. So even if he hits 100 or 2 in the next 2 games, after this series, would you still play Josh Butler purely as a keeper batsman? Is there no chance of you, playing Ben Stokes for the sake of the wicket-keeping art, for the sake of pleasure as a keeper?
I think I agree with you completely. I thought Ben had a very good game. I thought he batted beautifully in the first innings. Very calm, composed, in control. Knew how he wanted to score his runs, and it was a masterclass on a very tricky wicket. Normally, if it's tricky for batting, in spinning conditions, it's certainly going to be tricky for the keeper. And I thought he was excellent. He really was world class. Showed everyone what he's capable of. And I think that's a decision to make further down the line. That's a decision that will come at the end of the series. But we're very blessed with some very talented players in our squad. Joss has been right at the top of his game in the recent past. And Ben's obviously shown what he can do as well. So it's a very exciting place to be.
4 more questions now. Will McPherson, Dean Wilson, Ali Martin, and Richard Gibson. Thank you. Will?
Hi, Joe. Just going back to Moeen, you've said there that he's chosen to go home. Does that mean that you have asked him to stay, that you sort of tried to change the plan and he's rejected that? And just secondly, is anyone else going home with him?
From the squad, I think Moeen's the only one that's going home. With Moeen, it wasn't more of asking if he wanted to stay. It was a decision that he'd chosen. Of course, you want as many of your players available for as long as possible, but you also want them to be very comfortable here. And for Mo, he obviously feels he wants to be at home with his family, and completely respect that and understand that. If you look at his tour, it's been a really difficult one for him, having to deal with COVID, being in his room for such long periods of time. And I think that's just become to a point where he wants to get out of the bubble, and that's absolutely fair enough. So yeah, I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision for him, but one that absolutely completely respects and understands.
Dean Wilson, please.
Hi, Joe. Just on the sort of selections, you talked a bit about the difficulty that you've had kind of balancing everything up, but I guess it's quite clear that the T20 side has taken priority this winter, having a full strengths side throughout rather than the test side? Are you kind of resigned to that being the case, that the T20 preparations are kind of more important than the test series?
I think my job is to manage the squad of players that we have here, and I'm trying to do that best of my ability. I think we've got some wonderfully talented players and a squad of players that is more than capable of winning out here. As soon as that squad's passed over, it's mine and Spoons' responsibility to try and get the best out of them, to try and win as many games as we can, and certainly trying to do that to as best as possible. And I'll keep going back to it. We're 1-1 in a very exciting series, 2 games, a new stadium, and a pink ball. So very much looking forward to getting stuck into it. You know, as I say, there'll be guys coming out of quarantine as well that will add energy, bring something new to the group. And it's important that we very much look forward to what's next. And these 2 games, which presents a really good opportunity for us.
Does that allow you to stay? Okay, sorry.
Hi, Joe. I'm just wondering, do you feel that that's possibly Mo and Ali's last Test match for England? And also, by extension, does that mean that Josh Buttler, Johnny Bairstow, Mark Wood, etc., they all have the option to stay on tour, but they similarly chose not to be here at the moment? Well, obviously, a couple of them are back.
I don't think it's as straightforward as that. I think there's a lot of things that come into it. I think it's a very difficult thing to put onto one individual. And I'm sure there was different conversations that happened with different players. Everyone's in slightly different positions in different squads, etc. So I'm not privy to those conversations, those individual conversations. So I've sort of lost what the question initially.
Well, I don't know whether it was Mo in last Test match.
Say again. Oh, was it Mo? Why would it be Mo's last Test match? I thought he actually got better as the game went on and showed everyone that he's got the skills to perform at this level. So it means that he's obviously not going to take further part out here, but I don't see why that closes the door entirely.
Thanks.
Last up, Richard Gibson, please.
Joe, I accept everything you said about mowing and players coming out, but how difficult is it to go into a 4-match Test series where you have 4 changes after 1 game, and then you're now forced into multiple changes again, I guess, for the next match? How is that? How difficult, or how do you manage so many changes during a Test series in and out?
It is difficult. It's challenging, but so is everything at the moment. In these times with COVID, with bubble lives, with the amount of cricket that we've got, and trying to manage all of that, factor it all in together, it is tough. But it is where we're at, and that's where we find ourselves, and we just have to make sure that we get the best out of the players that are here. And as I mentioned, we've got a very talented squad of players. We've got a number of different options. We've got variety in the players that we can bring in. All offer something slightly different. So it doesn't change my focus, which is how we're going to win these next 2 games. And obviously, me and Spoons will look at the squad that is available to us and make sure that we're very happy with the 11 that's selected to make the most of this pink ball under lights at a new ground. And hopefully that will be the right team to take advantage of those conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
Guys.
Thanks a lot.